Welcome, friends, to the animation experience at Conservation Station. Since the 1930s, Disney animators have put their pencils to paper in service of the idea that the greatest inspiration often comes from the magic of nature. Walt Disney himself understood the importance of spending time around animals, studying their behavior and personalities in order to create realistic characters and dynamic storylines. This meeting of the human and animal worlds sparked a legacy of storytelling that has shaped our relationship with animals and conservation forever. Today, we invite you to become a part of that legacy as our own Disney artists help you learn to sketch characters inspired by the very animals found here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Get your pencils ready, because here comes our animation artist now.
Oh, dear, there are so many people in here. I'm a little bit nervous. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Good. All right, very cool. How many of you have never been to our animation experience before? This is your first time here. Show of hands. Ooh, there's a lot of you. Very good. For those of you that have been here before, welcome back. Nice to see familiar faces. For the new folks, we're going to go through a couple of quick things before we get started. Start with a checklist to make sure you have everything you need to draw a character here with us this morning, including a clipboard. You should have found that at your seat when you sat down. So you have something to draw on. When you're done with those clipboards, we just ask that you please put them right back on the seat that you were sitting at. One seat, one clipboard, pretty simple. On your way in, you picked up a piece of paper and a pencil. Those are yours. Our free gift to you for our 50th anniversary. Free Disney souvenirs. Keep them, treasure them, cherish them, sell them on eBay as genuine Disney artist-used pencils if you like. But if you don't want them, that's okay too. You can put them in the recycling bin as you exit. We will shred them and turn them into mulch and spread them across Disney property in your honor. The last thing that we need is a little bit of inspiration, and that comes from the animals that inspire our classic animated characters. Walt Disney inspired his animators by bringing live animals into the studio for them to learn about and study, and as much as I would love to do that here this morning, unfortunately, our pigs have to stay out in our affection section and on Kilimanjaro safaris and over at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. So instead of bringing them here to see you physically, we're going to take you to see them virtually. So take a look at our inspiration up on screen.
If you love pigs, Walt Disney World is the place to be. With so many different species to get to know, you will squeal with delight. Our first 3 residents are at Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park. Let's go! This little piggy lives near Conservation Station at Rafiki's Planet One. You might not recognize this special breed, but this small domestic pig is called a Kuni Kuni, and they come all the way from New Zealand. Look at them go! This little piggy lives on the savannah and can be seen from Kilimanjaro safaris. Warthogs come all the way from Africa, and they aren't so little after all. Check out that shovel-shaped snout, which all of these pigs have in common. They use it for digging around and finding food. And take a look at that tail. The warthog's tail is very animated. Look at it go. See how they throw their tails up when they're excited? Although cute, this can sometimes flag to others that danger is close by. Oh, hello! And this little piggy lives at the entrance of the park in the oasis. With its exotic, streamlined look, the babirusa is also known as the deer pig from Indonesia. This little piggy lives on the savannah at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. These little cuties are called Red River hogs. They come from Africa too. And they all love to do what pigs do best, wallow. They dig shallow pits of mud and they roll away. Yeah, it's a pretty smart way to spend your time since it keeps you cool and protects you from biting insects. So come see all of our pigs here at Walt Disney World. And while you're here, be sure to learn more about pigs and how supporting the Disney Conservation Fund protects all kinds of amazing animals from around the world. I bet the excitement of our little pigs and conservation will have you saying, wee, 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 I don't want to go home.
All right, is everybody inspired? All right, 3 people, awesome. Okay, a couple last minute things before we get started. Should you need anything during the middle of the show, maybe your pencils break, your paper spontaneously combusts, you get upset and frustrated and you'd rather have crayons and coloring sheets, or maybe your kids want crayons and coloring sheets. It's not just for the crying adults. You can get them for the kids too. Just raise your hand. One of my friends around the theater will be happy to bring those out to you. If you need to exit early for any reason or use the restroom for those reasons, head to the left toward the illuminated sign that says exit. It's conveniently spelled just like exit. That way you know where to find the exit. That's right, yes. You need to exit, head out in that direction. Restroom is also that way. So, with that said, let's get started and let us draw the very cute, the very lovable little character known as Piglet. And we're going to start by drawing in the shape of his head. We've got a pretty good start here on our page. We have this nice big avocado-looking thing. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to shave just a little bit off of it to create what is going to be the shape of Piglet's head. I'm going to start right here where that blue line meets the top of our avocado, and I'm basically going to trace the blue line. That's going to be pretty simple. Just trace the top of his head right there. And as we come down from that blue line, I'm just going to shave a little bit off. So I'm going to come in a little bit straighter till I'm just above this line over here. And then curve it back out toward the widest part of our avocado. So we're just taking that little tiny sliver right off the side of our blue guy there. And you do basically the same thing over here on this side. Bring it straight down, so we're just a little bit above this line here, and then swing it back out. We're taking these very narrow, little triangular shaped bits off of the side of his head there. Drawing is often kind of like sculpting, but instead of using clay, you're using a pencil. Let's shade little bits off to give us the shape we're looking for. At the bottom, we're going to do almost the same thing. Kind of follow that nice big curve that's eventually going to be his cheek. Going to bring it in just a little bit. And curve it down just a little bit above the bottom of our avocado. So it almost starts to look like a very stretched out clover shape. And again, same thing over here. Just curve a little bit off of the bottom. And we can trace the bottom part of our avocado. Connecting them together. That's going to give us the basic shape of his head. Underneath of his head, we can add a little hint of his body. As we follow our curve here, we can continue around just a little bit past and start to curve into his little itty bitty body. Piglet is the smallest character in the 100 Acre Wood. So he's going to be really small, really adorable, very, very nervous. Piglet's always scared of just about everything. And so that will give us a little hint of his little body, so he's not just a little floating head. And Piglet always wears a little onesie, a little jumpsuit with horizontal stripes on it. In the original storybook, illustrated by E.H. Shepard, he wore a mint green outfit with little thin black horizontal stripes. In the Disney cartoon version, they made it a slightly darker pink color, again with thin black horizontal stripes. Some of the toys and the character that you can get pictures and autographs with here in the parks, he has alternating pink and white stripes, but they're all horizontal. So we get these little curves going right across his little shirt there. We can even add a little hint of his arms. This little line coming down on each side, right here from the edge of our avocado. Just give him a little hint of some shoulders. Remember, he's a plush toy. His arms are just going to kind of hang there on the sides. And he is loosely based on a pig. Most likely a domesticated pig here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. We do have the Kuni pigs, which are a domesticated breed of pigs originating from New Zealand. And you can meet them out there in the affection section. They are very lovable, very friendly. And one of them is actually the inspiration and model for Pua from the movie Moana. Her name's Charlotte May. And when the animators were working on that movie, they came here to Animal Kingdom to study some of the animals, including the Kuni pigs. And back then, Charlotte was just a little itty bitty piglet. She was so adorable, they fell in love with her. And she is actually the model for Pua. So she's a real movie star. You can meet her out there. You can see the warthogs out on Kilimanjaro safaris. In the video, they were talking about how they are not small. Yeah, warthogs can get to be up to 300 pounds. And Bodhi, our big male out there, he's pretty darn close to that. He is huge. He doesn't look as big when you see him when you're riding up in a safari truck, but he is massive. Alright, so we've got the shape of his head. Let's start to add some detail to his face. I'm going to start by putting in little eyes. And Piglet, of course, being a toy, he has little button eyes. So right here at the end of that little blue line, right in the middle, that little curvy one, I'm going to put a little oval, kind of like a tic-tac. One on each side. Nice little oval shape. Give him these little bitty button eyes. And of course, Piglet is based on an actual toy played with by the real Christopher Robin. Now, the character in the book is based on the son of the author, A.A. Milne. Yeah, so, and his son, also named, coincidentally, Christopher Robin. Big stretch of the imagination there. So he based it on Christopher Robin and his toys that he played with out in their backyard. Now, he really had a little plush pig named Piglet, and a little bear, and a little donkey, and a tiger, and all of those characters are real. And those plush actually still exist. You can find them at the New York Public Library. They're over 100 years old. Underneath of his little eyes, I'm going to add part of his cheek. You know when you smile really big, your cheeks push up against the bottom of your eye? So I'm going to put a little curve right underneath each eye. Show those cheeks pushing up against them. In between his cheeks, and using this little dash down here, we're going to draw the shape of his nose. Just like the pigs in the video, Piglet has a little upturned nose, but his is really tiny. Think of it like a very rounded pyramid. Coming up to the blue line here, we're going to draw a very rounded triangle shape. A little round pyramid with rounded corners and curved sides, because we don't want anything about Piglet to be too sharp and pointy. Remember, he is a toy. And he still has that slight upturn to his nose. A little rounded triangle. There's his cute little nosy. On the sides, we're going to add the bottom part of his cheeks where it curves into his dimple. Now imagine the rest of our cheek here as it comes toward the nose, and keep it really light, barely touch the paper, or you can even just hover right over the page. Think of it almost like a little backwards question mark as it comes toward the cheek, or toward the nose. And I'm only going to darken in a little bit here at the bottom, this little S curve. So that'll create the bottom of his cheek and that cute little dimple. And do the same thing on this side. And a cute little dimple. And then his smile is going to run from one dimple to the other, right across that second little dash underneath his nose. So giving this nice big smiley face. Little smile. Piglet is a very nervous character, so if it looks like he's kind of got this nervous smile like he's taking a class photo, that's perfect. Underneath of his smile, we'll accent his lower lip and make it stand out against his chin with just a smaller curve. At the top of his head, we're going to give him something that pigs are famous for. Probably the first thing you imagine in your mind when you think of a pig. Expressive eyebrows. Right? You know, that's what they're known for, those amazing facial expressions. No, you're giving me a look like, no, yeah, they don't have eyebrows. That's right. Pigs do not have eyebrows. They're covered in fur. They don't show emotions through their faces. It's mostly through their ears and their tails, like little warthogs you saw in the video. When they're excited, those tails will be sticking straight up and wagging around almost like a dog. But for Piglet, we're going to give him some eyebrows so that he can relate to us as humans who do show a lot of emotion and expression through our eyes. So we're going to draw this little skinny teardrop, kind of curving up and over his eyes, right here at that blue guideline. One on this side and another one over here. This little skinny jumping teardrop coming right up through that blue guideline. You can even shade it in. And he's got some eyebrows. Makes him look a lot happier too. And the last thing that we need are his ears. And he's got nice big ears. And I'm going to start just right above the eyebrow here, to each side of my center blue line. A little mark there, about the same distance. And I'm going to curve up to that little dash way up near the top. So now it looks like he's got these two big antennae. His little striped shirt kind of looks like he's wearing a little bumblebee costume. He is a little bumblebee. But that'll be the top of his ear. The bottom of his ear starts right here where the guideline meets the side of his head. And we're going to draw what looks a lot like the letter S. Kind of like the one we have here for his dimple, just a lot bigger. I'm going to curve it out. I'm going to swing it up to the tip of his ear. And just slightly round it out a little bit, because again, we don't want him to be too pointy. Here's his little, or I should say, big ear. His ear is almost the size of his head. And a lot of the pigs that you saw in the video, the warthogs, the red river hogs, the babirusa, they're what we call monomorphic. They look almost identical. It's incredibly difficult to tell one individual from another unless you really know their personality and their specific markings. The Kune pigs, the ones that are right here at the affection section, they're domesticated, so they actually have a lot of differences among individuals. Their ears, some can be pointy like piglets. Some can be floppy like a hound dog's. Their colors can also be quite different, ranging from white to gray to black, with some cream colors. Some have spots, some are uniform. So lots of different variations in the Kune pigs. The other ones, they are all pretty much identical. Here's Piglet's other ear. And we can add a little bit of shading. Not really too much to shade on Piglet. He has various shades of pink. His ears and his nose are going to be the darkest parts of his body. Just want to very lightly, these are going to be just slightly darker than the rest of his face. Shade those in. A little hint of color to them. You don't want to make it really, really dark. Nose. Of course, his eyes, he's got little button eyes, so those are going to be black. But if you want, you can even put a little highlight in them, just to show a little reflection of light. And it does really make him look super cute. A little tiny circle at the top, and then shade in the rest of that eye underneath. And you can make it solid black. That's up to you. And if you want to shade in his little shirt, you can go ahead and do that too. If you want to even do the alternating pink and white stripes. And if you want to make it that uniform, a slightly darker pink color. And there you go. There's a very quick sketch of the cute and lovable Piglet. And like I've been saying, he is a plush toy. And believe it or not, you go out into the park, you can buy plush toys of Piglet and all the other Winnie the Pooh characters. But if you look carefully, you'll also find some have the Disney Conservation Fund tag on them. And when you purchase one of those plush, a portion of that price will go toward the Disney Conservation Fund. And the Disney Conservation Fund is how we help to fund conservation projects around the world to save animals like the Babirusa, which are endangered now. Yeah, the Babirusa pigs are on the endangered species list. So by purchasing any of these plush that are part of the Conservation Fund initiative, a portion of that money will go to help protect these animals around the world. And you can even just go up to a register and make a straight donation to the Disney Conservation Fund. You get this cool conservation button, and Disney will match any donation that is made. So whether it's as little as a dime to millions and millions of dollars, because I don't know what your bank accounts look like, Disney will contribute that exact same amount of money. And that all goes to protecting these amazing animals around the planet. Now, when you are finished, make sure you put your name on there. Be proud of him, whether he is horrible or adorable. You created him. You brought him to life. You did exactly what our Disney animators did. So put your name on there. When you get home, hang him on a fridge. Yours, your neighbors, Lowe's, Home Depot's, it doesn't matter, as long as he goes up somewhere on display. The pencils, like I said, keep them, treasure them, or put them in the recycling bin as you exit. Your personal belongings, those are yours as well. Cameras, hats, cell phones, purses, backpacks, small children, large adults, take those with you when you go. The only things we want back at the end of the show are the clipboards. Just leave them right there on the seat, exactly where you found them. We hope you had fun. We hope you enjoy the rest of your adventures here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. And have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you all for joining us in the animation experience at Conservation Station. Please gather your personal belongings before exiting, and remember to take your artwork with you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your visit at Rafiki's Planet Lunch and the rest of your adventure here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Goodbye.